Greetings all. We're now having a look at USD CHF. And as you guys can see, in front of me is the monthly chart, as we usually start off our analysis on the monthly chart. And yeah, so let's get straight into the actual chart. So immediately I can see that we had a very nice inverted head and shoulders pattern in this region, with this being the left hand shoulder, this being the head, and this side being the right hand shoulder of that inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? And then we had the neckline of that pattern being in that region, and we saw price breaking to the upside of that neckline and then coming down to test the neckline of that pattern. So you guys know that when it comes to these patterns, being the head and shoulders pattern as well as the M&W pattern, what we anticipate or what we expect to happen once the neckline has been broken to the upside, in the case of inverted head and shoulders patterns, is for price to head back to the neckline to test it, and this is where we would look for buying opportunities. And the anticipation is that price will continue moving up at least to this level again, because it is a very strong resistance area, as we had multiple rejections in that area, as you guys can see, right? So that's the anticipation at this point in time. We expect price to bounce off this neckline and then head back up to the resistance area. Nonetheless, let's keep looking at the charts. From here, I'm just gonna go down to the weekly chart. However, before I do so, I'm just gonna add the neckline of that inverted head and shoulders pattern, because the level is very much important, and I don't want us to get lost as we head down to the smaller time frames. Okay, here we go. There goes the neckline. In fact, before we head down to the weekly chart, I'm just going to utilize the Fibonacci retracement tool, just to see if that neckline aligns with any of the key numbers that we have on the tool. So just bear with me. So there goes the Fibonacci retracement tool, and we can see that the neckline of this inverted head and shoulders pattern is in alignment with the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level, right? In fact, it's somewhere in between the 50% and the 61.8% rather, and these two numbers are the most important Fibonacci retracement numbers in as far as I'm concerned. So this is further confirmation in as far as looking for buying opportunities goes, right? So let's head down to the weekly chart. Let's see. All right, so here we are on the weekly chart. So what do we see on the weekly chart, right? So I see further confirmation that confirms that we should indeed be looking for buying opportunities, and that is because we have these two candles, which are called railroad tracks, right? And they confirm, or rather it confirms, that indeed we should be looking for buying opportunities to, in my humble opinion, to at least this level. But anyway, let's proceed. So what else do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to? As much as we have this candlestick pattern over here, which is the railroad track pattern, just bear in mind that we also have a very nice M structure over here, with a neckline being at this point over here, right? Which actually makes things a bit tricky, because when it comes to M structures, just like when we have W structures, once price closes to the bottom side of the neckline, we expect it to go back to the neckline to retest it and then push further down, right? And that's a possibility at this point, and that's what may also happen, right? So as much as I'm saying that we should be looking for buying opportunities at this point, as I said, this M structure makes things a bit more complicated, because what may actually happen is price may reject the neckline of that M structure and then push further down. So we just need to be careful. However, as we go down to the smaller time frames, we might see how we might be able to get away with this particular dilemma that we have over here, right? Nonetheless, let's proceed. In fact, before we proceed, I'm just going to add the neckline of that M structure because it is also very much important. So just bear with me. Let's see. Let's see. I'm just going to add a neckline. Just bear with me. So we can say that the neckline is more or less here, right? As you guys can see, yes, or rather last week's candle, it seems has closed above the neckline. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that the neckline is no longer valid, because what normally happens, or what sometimes happens, is that as much as the neckline is in this region, price will close slightly above that neckline and then push further up, right? Usually when this happens, it happens when there's a lot of liquidity stuck at that level, or when the market does a stop hunt at that level, right? And that's when you might see a reversal, right? So we need to keep that in the back of our minds as well. And nonetheless, let's continue. So what else do we see on this particular chart that we should be paying attention to, right? I don't see much really at this point in time. However, what I'm going to do is head down to the daily chart to see how we may be able to maneuver this area over here that we have been talking about, right? So here we are on the daily chart. Let's see. The first thing that I'm going to do on the daily chart is to add my daily channel. Let's see, how would I add my daily channel in this situation? Let's see. I would add it in this manner. Just bear with me while I add my channel. Okay, here we go. Let's see. I just want to see if this point over here is higher than this point, and it is, so that's fine. Yeah, but nonetheless, I will add my channel in this manner. There we go, and there we go, more or less. There we go. Right. So there goes our channel. So what else do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to? Remember on the weekly chart, I said that we have a very nice M structure here with a neckline over there, and I said that price broke the neckline to the bottom side and then went back again to retest it. So can you guys see that we have a series of very strong bullish candles in this region, and that indicates to me that this entire move was indeed a stop hunt, right? It was indeed a stop hunt, in my humble opinion, and that is because of the momentum that we're seeing as far as those candles are concerned. So we might see a reversal. Nonetheless, we need confirmation. I'm not saying that we should be selling at this point. We need confirmation, but just also keep in mind that we have that pattern at the bottom that we spoke about in the bigger time frames, and I said that the neckline of that inverted head and shoulders pattern is at this point, and that we should be looking for buying opportunities. Right, now that we're on the daily chart, I still say it's a bit risky in as far as buying or selling goes in this region, because as I said, we have two opposing structures, right, which are the M structure as well as the inverted head and shoulders pattern, and they both have necklines in more or less the same area, and price currently is somewhere here, right? So it could go either way. We just need to make sure that we're up to speed with everything and we make the right decisions. Nonetheless, let's keep moving down to the smaller time frames to see if we can get away with either buying or selling at this level, as risky as it is. So yeah, let's go down to the H4 chart. So seeing that there's not much of interest on this particular chart, which is the daily chart, right? However, before we head down to the H4 chart, I just also want to point out that at this level over here, we have a whole lot of liquidity stuck there, and that is because as much as we have an M formation here, we also have another smaller M formation here with a neckline being there, right? So you guys know by now that when it comes to M structures, a lot of traders and investors sell on that second leg of that M structure, and they place their stop losses just above that structure, right? Similarly, this tells us that we have a lot of stop losses that are located or rather placed in this region, and price may actually push further up to trigger all of those stop losses that are here, and to also grab some liquidity and then possibly push further down. So we just need to, as I said, ensure that we're up to speed and we have a 360-degree view of all the possibilities within the market, right? So anyway, let's proceed. From here, as I said, I'm just going to head down to the H4 chart. Here we are on the H4 chart. I'm just going to fix my channel just to make sure that it is accurate. There we go. There we go. Can you guys see that this smaller M structure is actually better visible on the H4 chart, right? Anyway, let's proceed. So what do we see on this chart, which is the H4 chart? We can see that we have a very strong bullish trend in as far as the H4 chart goes, and we can also see that at this level we have a very strong level of support and also a very small or a very nice W structure there. And you guys know that when it comes to W structures, we would love to see price break the neckline to the top side and then come back to the neckline to retest it and then push further up, right? And we would look for buying opportunities generally at this point over here, right? So similarly, price may head back to the neckline to retest it and then push further up, right? That's also a possibility as well, right? But as I said to you guys, this whole area is a very tricky area because there are too many patterns that don't gel well together. Nonetheless, we're trying to see if we can get away with making any actual trades in this region over here, right? Anyway, let's proceed. So what else do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to? Before we continue, I'm just gonna add my H4 channel as well. Just bear with me. Let's see. There goes my channel. There we go. There we go. Is that accurate? No. There we go. Here we go. There goes our H4 channel, more or less, right? Yeah. So what else do we see on this chart? Is there anything else that we should be paying attention to? So as much as we're in an uptrend, can you guys see that price seems to be creating an M structure over there, right? With the side being the second leg of that W structure. And I said to you guys that when it comes to M and W structures, traders and investors usually sell on that second leg of that M structure as they anticipate price to move further down, right? So due to the fact that we have this M structure over here, just also know that we have a lot of stop losses that are actually located just above that region, right? So let's continue, but I wouldn't advise you to sell at this point. I would not advise you to sell at this point because we need further reasons, right? We need further confluence, right? And as I said, that whole entire area is a very tricky area. It's a very risky area, and we just need to be extra careful, right? Anyway, I don't see anything further on this particular chart. Let me head down to the H1 chart to see if we can find any reasons to be buying or selling in as far as the chart of USD CHF is concerned. So here we are on the H1 chart, right? And it's very much similar to the H4 chart. I don't see much really of interest, although as I said, we have a very strong M structure over here, right? With this being the second leg of that M structure. And I also spoke about the W structure that we have over here, which has a neckline over here, more or less, right? And what may happen is price from where it is, because of this M structure, may push to this level to not only test the neckline of this W structure, but also to test this trend line over here, right? So price may come to this level and then bounce further up, right? Or even push further down, as we had discussed. But myself personally, I will not be looking for any selling opportunities in as far as this second leg of this M structure goes, right? But as I said, the formation may actually happen, or the movement may actually happen where we see price move further down to maybe this level over here, which is the neckline of this W structure, as well as to test this trend line as well over here, and the market may push further up from there. We don't know, but because of how tricky things are in as far as the H4 chart goes, as well as the daily, I would not be buying or selling, right? So there is my analysis in as far as the chart of USD CHF goes. Peace out.